Robbie, and I'm here to talk to you about why I chose to become an engineer. So if you would have asked me when I was a kid what I wanted to be when I grew up, I wouldn't have known the answer to that. I actually had no idea I wanted to be an engineer until after I was already in college. Looking back though, I definitely can tell that's probably where I would have wound up. I was the kid that loved playing with Legos and Connects and building things out of those. And I was always taking things apart and putting them back together, like old radios and TVs and stuff, just to figure out if they could work and to see if I could take them apart and put them back together and they still work. If things like Raspberry Pis and Arduinos would have been around when I was a kid, I definitely would have been playing with them too. Unfortunately, the Arduino came out in 2005 and I graduated in high school in 2006. So I did pick it up, but it wasn't when I was a kid. So some of my favorite subjects in school were math and science, and my least favorite subjects in school were history and English. I think that's because history and English always seem like learning the same thing over and over again, and it never seemed to be new, just something repackaged slightly differently. But math and science, you was always learning new stuff. It was stuff you never heard before, and I always found that interesting that it was new. So by the time I got into college, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't actually end up declaring my major until a year after I had already finished, or a year after I had already started college. And by the time that I needed to declare my major, I hadn't narrowed down to engineering or computer science, but I didn't know which one. And engineering was made up as many fields. So there's like electrical engineering and aeronautical engineering and chemical engineering and petroleum engineering and all these different engineering fields. So I didn't know which one I wanted to be, but I also liked programming too. So I wanted to possibly go into computer science. What I ended up settling on was an electrical engineering degree, which is the engineers that design the electrical circuits and stuff that goes into all the devices. So like your computer and your cell phone and your TV, but they also design like the electrical systems and power distribution systems that you see inside buildings and stuff too. I was more interested on the electrical circuit side of things though. And I decided to do that as my bachelor's degree, and I decided to do a minor with that in computer science. And the way I saw that is you could get the hardware and the software side, both in one degree. So because I added on that minor though, it took me 5 years to finish my bachelor's degree instead of 4. And after I finished that, I decided to do a master's degree in computer engineering. That's an additional 2 years, and computer engineering is basically a degree that merges electrical and computer science. So what I did for my bachelor's, but merged into one degree, and kind of goes on beyond that. So you can get both the hardware and software side. So if I had any advice that I would give on how to get through school, I would say that it's important to keep a social life and to make sure to take time for yourself for your hobbies. So it's easy to get caught up in the grind. You're constantly busy studying for exams and doing homework, and it's easy to forget to take time to see your family and your friends and just to go out and have fun. And it's really important to do that, or else you're going to get burnt out. And it's also important to take me time. So yes, you need to spend time with family and friends, but you also need to make sure to make time for your hobbies. So I always loved gaming, and I always loved building robots and programming the smarts for the robots to see if I could, build something to do this specific thing. And in college, anytime I had free time, I was making sure, I was still playing video games with my friends, or I was in my own lab at my house building robots and putting them together. So I didn't just focus on school. But you got to make sure that you focus on school enough that you're making the grades that you need to make. And any advice that I would give my younger self would be just to don't stress. It's very easy when you're in school to start stressing about everything. you're stressing about the exams you got to study for, and the first B or C that you get, you're going to stress about that and just eat yourself up over it. But it's important to remember that, you know, just as long as you're trying your best, it's all going to work out in the end. And don't stress the small things. You're going to waste time stressing about something you can't change. So anyways, that is why I chose to be an engineer, and some advice that I would give anybody looking to go into the STEM fields. And I think if you do go into the STEM field, you'll really enjoy it. There's engineering and all the other STEM fields are amazing, rewarding experiences that you'll definitely love if you go into.
My name is Derek Willis. I am an electrical and computer engineering graduate research assistant. Kind of a mouthful, I know. What motivated me? I think I was motivated by a higher standard of living, you know, basically enjoying some of the finer things in life. What were my least favorite subjects in school? Basically all of it. You know, I really didn't have the best high school experience during that senior year. I kind of got senioritis and skipped around a lot, especially to the local restaurants. What inspires me? I think it was because I was younger and watched a lot of movies, watched a lot of television, and I really fell in love with the cyberpunk genre. And you see society using a lot of advanced technology like virtual reality, and that really inspired me. And it's kind of strange, but I really don't like Star Trek or Star Wars. What hidden talent do I have? I think my hidden talent is pattern recognition. It helps me deduce solutions because sometimes I'm familiar with the approaches that are the most logically sound to solve those particular scenarios. And how would I solve these problems? Basically, I would try to define the scope of the problem and take an inventory of all the relevant information I have. And there is always some missing pieces of the problem. And as long as you make a logical and sound guess or assumption about these missing pieces, then you're going down the right path. What are the words I would tell myself when I feel discouraged? Well, during my journey in my electrical engineering major, I have dropped classes that I had no chance of passing, but I always reattempted them with a better line of understanding. And I always remind myself that I'm further along my journey than when I first started. That reminds me of the time and effort that has already paid off for me. And why did I choose to study this? I believe that engineering is the key to the future, and that society is built on technological process, and I wanted to be a part of that. If I could go back to my 18-year-old self, what would I tell myself? I would probably tell myself to look into a little programming and keep an eye out for some of those cryptocurrencies. Yeah, you know, there are opportunities to learn technologies and invest in them as well. What type of jobs are open in my profession? Well, because I try to specialize in machine learning, there are a lot of jobs in fields where software and hardware meet, like embedded programmers, computer vision programmers, and generally there are a lot of jobs in the robotics field. Automation will have a big impact on our society, and it's going to be for better and for worse, of course. But that's for the future. And what are my hobbies? My hobbies are playing rhythm and blues and a little rock and roll on my acoustic guitar. More like how would I say an artist? Lenny Kravitz. I kind of follow him and how he basically performs for his audience. Another hobby of mine would be riding my motorcycle. I own a KTM Super Duke, sort of a dirt bike. It's street legal, so I ride around town, and I go on trips with it. And I believe it's important to live life because it's going to enhance your creativity when you apply your field of specialty. Thank you, and you guys have a good night.
Hi, I am Dr. Marilyn Grass-Colt. I am a medical doctor and I practice family medicine in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was asked to record a short video about my career and educational process to help you with your career endeavors and to give you encouragement to look into a career in the STEM fields. Okay, let's get started. Let's see, there's a list of questions I've been asked to answer, so here we go. Who motivated me? Well, I will have to say, when I was a young child, I was amazed by how my pediatrician knew what to do to make me feel better when I was sick. And I always felt like that was a true gift and a talent, and I wanted to develop that in myself. So to be honest with you, my first day of first grade, I remember running up to my mom and saying, I'm going to learn how to be a doctor today. I was so excited to start school. So I think that the feeling of wanting to help people is really what motivated me then and still motivates me today to do my job. As far as my educational process goes, I attended the University of Oklahoma and majored in chemical engineering with pre-medical option in college. And then I attended the University of Texas Southwestern Medical School in Dallas, Texas. And from there, my husband and I moved back to Oklahoma, and I served my internship and residency with OU College of Medicine in Tulsa. I then passed boards and have practiced in family medicine ever since that time. Looking back to my background, honestly, becoming a physician really went back, as I mentioned before, way back to my childhood. During my education in elementary, junior high, high school, I always had a love for science and math. And so I would encourage you to take every science class, every math class that you possibly can, because all of that will lay a foundation for you that you'll draw from. Especially in math, if you have the opportunity to take calculus in high school, I would highly recommend that. And if you have the opportunity to take math classes above and beyond that level, that is a bonus that will really help you if you decide to go into an engineering field, which again, I would highly recommend. I think that getting an engineering degree in any of the engineering disciplines is a fantastic background that will serve as a springboard to many, many areas of work. And as an engineer, we're all problem solvers, and we're all contributing to the advancement of the world and to humankind. And I feel that's a very exciting field to be in. So, this also asks what unique contributions I bring to my job and what hidden talents do I have. Well, I feel like I have kind of a sixth sense to read people's emotions, and I've developed that through becoming a trained observer through my medical training, where I'm able to watch a patient's eyes, their facial expressions, their body language, and I can tell when we hit an obstacle to care. I can tell when they're not buying into the treatment plan that I'm recommending. And when I see that, I realize that if I don't stop and back up, then I'm really not helping them. So we back up. I talk to them about the reason why I'm recommending what I'm doing. I explain the reason why. And we talk about the pathophysiology behind their problem. I ask how they feel about the issue, what they feel like they would like to do. And there's always more than one answer. And so we line out a different course of action, and then the patient is much better served. I feel like I've done my job to give them, first of all, an accurate diagnosis, and then secondly, a treatment plan that works for them, and a treatment plan that they can afford. Because I will say many times a day, I am told what to do by insurance companies because they won't cover the medications that I feel are the best ones to use for patient care. And that is very frustrating. It's another question here, what is frustrating to you? That really probably is my biggest frustration, because I feel like I'm the doctor. I'm utilizing my knowledge base that I've worked to gain over the years and my experience level to offer the patient the best treatment plan. And when there's an obstacle like that, it is frustrating. But there's always a way around it. And I write up my reason for wanting this treatment and submit that to the insurances. Most of the time, I will get my way and get that medicine for the patient, but there are many times I don't as well. And so we have to utilize a cheaper medicine. So I think that would be my biggest frustration to my job. Let's see. What is my favorite thing about having a job in STEM? It's utilizing my knowledge base to help people. Let me go back to some of the classes I took in medical school and why math is so important. For example, pharmacology, understanding calculus and rates of change, understanding kinetics of chemical equations, helps to understand how a medicine will be absorbed into a patient's body through their bloodstream. That's called bioavailability. And then how that medication will work in whatever tissue is the targeted organ and targeted tissue. So understanding something as basic as calculus, carrying it forward into an active human being's body is very exciting to me, and drawing on that knowledge base and then turning that into a treatment plan to help a patient with their health problem is very satisfying to me and exciting. I think it truly is a privilege to practice medicine, and that's why they call it a privilege to practice medicine, because people bring their problems to me and trust my knowledge base and experience to give them help and to help them improve their life, their quality of life, and their longevity. Let's see. What do you struggle with academically? Well, there were many times that I got the wrong answer on tests and things like that. I always had this study habit of going back whenever I missed a problem, and I would write down everything so I could see my train of thought. So I would definitely recommend that. Then I would be able to go back and see where I made the conceptual error and correct that, and then apply what I learned to future problems. So overall, academically, I did find biochemistry to be very hard in medical school, but again, through study and through thinking and through just perseverance, basically, I got through all of that. Let's see. What is my typical work schedule like? I start office hours at 8 o'clock. I see patients from 8 to 12, and then from 1 to about 4:30. During lunchtime, I answer phone calls, patient emails, I refill prescriptions. I look up things that I feel like I need to study a little further for any given patient situation. I'm always studying on the job because things change, especially medicine. So I spend time at lunch doing that. And then after work, I work on patient charts. Basically, for every day in the office, I generate about an hour and a half of time that it takes to answer phone calls and refill prescriptions and answer patient emails, the portal emails that come in. And then it takes me about another 2 to 3 hours after work to get the charts done. So there is a lot of paperwork in medicine. And then I'm on call at night and on weekends when it's my turn on call. I have 4 very excellent partners that I share call with. So I'm pretty lucky to have a 1 in 5 call schedule, which means I'm on call 24/7 every 5th week and weekend. Let's see. What are my hobbies? I like to arrange flowers. I like colorful things. I like to garden. I just love flowers, and so I enjoy those very much. Let's see. And what do I do when I feel discouraged? I take a deep breath, remind myself to be flexible. And that's another piece of advice I would give you, is to always try to remain flexible. Develop that in yourself. You're young and you are at a point in your life where you can incorporate that into your personality. Be slow to anger, be quick to listen, and slow to speak. So when something frustrates me, I try to slow down and remember these things. And then again, remember there's always more than one way to solve a problem, and to channel the energy that way. Sorry, it's raining outside, starting to rain. How do I balance family and work? That has been very hard, honestly, over the years. I am married and I have 2 sons. And when they were young, it was very tiring, but certainly my family means the world to me. And I was able to work and take care of them through the help of my parents, who moved to Tulsa to help us with our children. And my husband has been a very supportive person, a stabilizing influence in my life and career. He is a mechanical engineer and also a scientific person, and has been very helpful to me. So I would also recommend that you surround yourself with positive people and supportive people in your life, because that will make a big difference in the long run for you. Okay. Well, I think my time is up. I hope that I have answered many of your questions. And I wish you well. Good luck in developing yourself and your background. And I do hope that you attend the University of Oklahoma in one of the many engineering disciplines that are offered. And if you are so led, I hope that you also go into medicine to help people in the future. And you, who knows, you might meet my doctor in the future. Bye.